Just making sure that we go live on all our platforms. We're live on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. So now I figured today we would do something different. I mean, I'm still obviously playing a lot of, Fortnite, but today I wanted to play some Planet Coaster 2 because I've been promising it for a while. So let's go ahead and build a coaster. Now, recently in their coasters, they added, let me go to create custom, and they recently added, they don't call it mock in this game, like they have fake names for all the manufacturers, but in real life it's a mock. But they added mock extreme spinners, and let me see if I can find it in this list. Of course, the thumbnails are super tiny. And of course, I should have probably set that up before we even... Where the heck is it? Like in my other files I've created extreme spinners, like there's the normal spinner, another normal spinner, spinning wild mouse, big M, they call them big M rides in this, but splash coaster. Oh, that's just my notice that I went online. That's the mine train. Tipper coaster, which we might do one of those eventually. Big M ultra spin coaster, so that's what it is. But excuse me, don't know what I had there, but like there's only 2 extreme spinners in the world right now, like, or full extreme spinners. Time Traveler in Missouri, and the Ride to Happiness in Belgium. I got to ride the Ride to Happiness last year, and oh my god, it was incredible. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and make this only a load on that side station, and then I'm going to also... Is that a tire drive? Yes, it is. So I'm going to make a short tire drive before take my target speed up, my acceleration up, turn catwalk on because this will technically still be part of the station. And then I'll go back to stations, and I'll choose the unload station that's also on this side. Then I'll go back here. I guess I'll leave the catwalk on for right now. Make it a little bigger. And then we will add a block section. For those of you who don't know, like to kind of channel El Toro Orion here, block sections are a section of track that only one train can be in. And there's a way to stop them at the end of that section. And in this case, this is block brakes, so the block brakes can stop the train. And that's a safety system in rides to make sure that they don't ever have a problem with colliding with each other. I always turn the release speed and release acceleration up. Then I'll make a little more drive tires to there. Then block brakes to the edge of there. And that way we can build an entire building around that if we want to. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the catwalk off. Go back to edit mode. And now we'll start actually building this baby. So I'm going to try and decide how I want to roll this, because like the Ride to Happiness, when we rode it, like when you leave, you actually do a JoJo roll, which is a slow heartline roll out of the station. And the reason for that is that these cars can spin, and you're on your way to a launch, and that way, since you're doing the JoJo roll, it'll cause your car to spin, and you have no idea what direction you'll be facing by the time you get to where you're going. There, to 0, and then we'll finish our roll. Then go to edit mode. Since I know that that's there, I'm going to go ahead and... Or no, go to edit mode. I want to put stuff at the end of this section. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my normal track, turn optional catwalk off, and we'll make this kind of a bunny hill into the brakes. So you bunny hill over the... bunny hill over the start piece. Go back to edit mode. And I'm going to go ahead and start testing on this. And I just want to make sure it makes it through this first piece first. I'm sure it will, but... See, it's already starting to spin. So now... LSM holding section. That's what it does on Ride to Happiness. It actually holds you for a second after that and then launches you. So we're going to launch this to, let's say 58 miles an hour, because that's about Ride to Happiness speed. I'm going to crank the acceleration way up. Launch delay for 3 seconds. And see, they're all facing different ways. They'll stop there for 3 seconds. So that's already pretty good. So let's crank that last launch section up. And now I just want to make sure it clears it again, although we know it well. But I'm just weird when I build in this game that I love watching it go. So let's go ahead and make this first maneuver what they call a step-up underflip. A step-up underflip is where you start to rise and then you turn 270 degrees and take a turn out of it. So we'll do our first 90 degrees here, our second 90 degrees kind of here, and then our last, that's our 270 right there. Alright, so let me get this to 0. Because... oh, so I can pull this down a little bit. So we should see it launch here in a second. So where are we at? I'm going to crank it to 40, about 45. There we go. Then I'm just going to go ahead and do a whole 0G roll here. So how we do that is at about a 45 degree angle, and at least this is how I make them. I don't know if this is exactly how real roller coaster designers do it, but it seems to work well enough in Planet Coaster. But at a 45 degree angle, we crank it all the way to the 90. Then go down to 0. Crank it to 180. Go down to 45. crank it to 270. Then you can crank it to back to 0. And I'll lessen the angle a little bit just because we're coming close to the ground. And while we're at it, let's have some fun here. And go with... Let's try... What's on the rolls? I don't know if I want to do a banana roll. Although the Ride to Happiness itself in real life does have a banana roll. But that's kind of a turnaround. And I don't know if I want to have a turnaround quite yet. Oh, that's a rare inversion called a Demonic Knot. I wonder if we can make that work. I bet that would be so cool. Alright, so I'm going to go back to edit mode really quick. And just make sure that I can get this out of here. Let me see if... Oh my god, we can! That in real life, that would probably be so wickedly intense. So actually, right now, let's go ahead and hop on the ride camera and just see what it's like so far. So now we're waiting for the launch. Yeah, the whip on the 0G roll to the Demon Knot was pretty wild. But since it's a game, we don't have to care if it's, arguably unsafe. So at this point, let's go ahead and put that banana roll. I wonder if it would make it up that 130-foot one. It would be like the second tallest maneuver in... Nope. So we're going to shrink that banana roll down. And maybe flip it the other way, because otherwise it would have gone right back under that, and I don't know if that would have been a good idea. And then I'm going to quickly, since we're doing a heavily block section ride, I'm going to go ahead and add in a block section that lets it go through at 60 miles an hour, barely deaccelerates it, and lets it just go. And what this does is it frees up the ride computer to let a train into the previous section that we just got out of. I think I'm going to do a low to the ground kind of deal right here. I bet in real life that would be so wildly intense. And then we'll crank it hard this way to kind of line ourselves up with our... that almost kind of made that almost a wave turn. A wave turn is where, like, as you're turning, it kind of pops out a little bit to kind of launch your butt out of the seat. And there you can kind of see it's turning that way, but also has that little bit pop. It's not quite a real wave turn, but definitely plays with the idea of one. Confirm. And I'm going to smooth select it a little bit. So we'll see how it looks when it completes the circuit. Yeah, it just barely coast through that. That's actually kind of cool. So I think what I'll do in this section is turn lock spinning on, turn lock spinning on there, lock spinning on there. Okay, cool. So lock spinning's on. So I'll stop test, and then we'll exit. Excuse me. I'm sorry, but we'll exit the coaster building part, and really quickly I'll place my... I like to place my entrance there, my staff gate over here, and then we'll place the exit over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to here, and it's right now set as like a standard coaster, which standard for Planet Coaster, not standard for like real coasters, but I'm going to swap that to block section, and that means we can have more trains on the track. I'm going to change this to minimum wait to 25 seconds, minimum interval 20, maximum wait 35. That way, if you ever have it placed in a park, it will just, be dispatching on a fairly even keel. Then we can add... honestly, with a coaster this big, we could add a fourth train, but I'm not sure you would even want to. Let's see how it runs on testing with just 3 trains, because I'm wondering if that is already a bit much. And I just need to go down here, mark as red. So there, the first one's on the launch. And it's launching. And I think it will let this train dispatch as soon as this one clears that block break. Yep. So that works like a charm. Yeah, you don't need 4 trains. Maybe if I had a very long coaster of this that had an additional block zone, you would want 4 trains, but as it stands, you'd have riders waiting on the back brake platforms already, so why do that? Oh, and it's actually got fairly good. So let's see what the max vertical G-force, barely over ASTM limit. For those of you who don't know, there's a group called American Society for Testing of Materials, and they have rules for all sorts of stuff, like chemicals, engineering, all of that. And their rules for rides say that riders should not experience more than 6 Gs on a ride, and we're over by 100th of a G. Otherwise, we're pretty good force-wise, though. So I'm going to stop test, start it again, and we'll go on right camera and see what it's like. It's so wild. You get this crazy stall on the banana roll. That is crazy. I really dig that. And actually, I'm going to open up my Firefox and just move it over here so you guys don't have to worry about that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get out of there. And try to decide what colors I want it. Well, first of all, we'll stop it. And the reason I want to stop it is I want to... First of all, let's create a color scheme for it. Blue. Gray. That green kind of looks nice. No, that purple doesn't really fit. So now we'll carry those color schemes over. And then these I'll make yellow because that's the restraints and the wheels. Which wheels on roller coasters are generally variations of like yellow or kind of tan anyways. Or kind of a yellowish brown. But so let's go ahead and attach scenery. Let's find some stuff we like. So this one, first of all, I'm going to go to the thing here. Symmetry type, mirror, twinning, twin, apply to all trains. So now you'll see that when I move my mouse over, it's like that. But now I'm going to go here and I'm going to drag the scale down so that it fits a little better. And I don't know if it did that to the back. No, it did not. So we need to do it to the back too. And let's see what else we can get. That's nuts. Actually, let's see what happens when we drag that down. No, it's kind of cool looking, but it's a little too big. Let's drag this on these down. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can dig that, and that already did it to both sides. And keep in mind, I'm just goofing off here. Like, if you wanted to go super detailed, you absolutely could. Drag that down. No, I don't like that. Let's drag that size down. I just wanted to see how that looks. I don't like that. Or undo. And then shrink it back down. That looks cooler. But it didn't get mirrored. Sometimes when you undo stuff, like, cause right now, they're still squashing a lot of bugs in Planet Coaster 2. Sometimes it does your mirroring and twinning and all trains. So now it should do it. Make sure that my scale is back down. Okay, cool. And that way it kind of blends into the design of the train. Let's find something cool and metallic that we can shrink super tiny. Like, I think this guy we can go super tiny. That way if we decide to do any, like, oh, we could do that too. But that way if we decide to do any tunnels or anything, that, that's a light source, so that it'll actually bounce light around stuff. And that's probably good. Done. And by the way, for those if any of you is already watching, or while we're live here, make sure you go to twitch.tv/attitudes, ADDATUDEZ. That is where I see the live chat, because I have the, my tablet up here, and that's the only live chat I see. The other services that I stream on, I do try to respond to comments, but I usually see them afterwards. But now that we're done there, we can set this back to testing so that we can always get an idea of what our clearances are. I mean, the game will tell us, but still. But anyways, I go here now and align scenery with station. And I'm going to go to building, walls. Let's see what we've got. I normally do modern wood, but I think I want to do something different. And I don't think I've ever did divided plaster wall, so let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing I do is I go down one, place it, go down another, place it, and that creates my base to my station. And I make sure auto stacking is supposed to be on. There we go. Normally the grid height automatically adjusts, but again, they're bug squashing right now. It's a new game, so of course it'd be nice if it launched without bugs, but I'm not super worried because Frontier was pretty great about supporting the original, so I don't think we're going to have an issue here. And I'm going to continue the station. Oh. We'll have to continue. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down another level. And then I'm going to quickly get my bearings here too, because not only am I building the wall there, but I will use that to be my guide as I build around the entire attraction. And basically what I'm doing is I'm building the perimeter of the building. And some coasters do have their final brake runs outside the building and then you enter it as you transfer into the station. But I like having them enclosed. It gives kind of a panache to it, I think. And I will eventually add a floor here too. I'll probably use the modern wood to do that because it's a nice wood floor surface when you use the flat piece of it. And part of the reason I'm building these walls up right now is it gives me a surface to build off of when we're building the actual walls of the station, not just these, supporting walls, if you want, whatever you want to call them. And now I'll quickly do this part. And I promise this is like the most boring part. And we are almost done, so we're going to get to the fun part of building the scenery here in a second, but you have to lay the foundation first. Alrighty, so that is divided. So I'm going to search for modern really quick just so I can get that piece in. Oh. Let's see, where the heck... There we go. And I'm going to turn auto stacking off for this one. And that way when you're in the room you can't see, plain ground or anything. Now we'll search for divided. And so the full wall. Where's the full wall at? There we go. So one thing I'm curious about is oh, so yeah, I need to turn auto stacking on. Okay, cool. It has the waves on both sides. Cool. So around this edge, I will put the waves like that. And around this one too. And then I usually put them right here on that transfer track between the exit platform and the load platform. And then I also have to put them in places like here and here and here. And I think right here for these ones I'll do it too. Then what I like to do for the areas around the station is I like to put these arches, and they come in different art styles, but I think it makes it the whole thing feel more open. And we will deal with the fact that there's not a safety railing there in a second, because you know, if you look, people could just walk right through that arch right into the station area, which of course in real world would be a big no-no. But first I need to move that. There we go. That's much nicer. Oh, okay, so I am still... It just, for whatever reason, got rid of my search. Oh, what's that look like? Oh, I kind of like that. So... Well, here, I'm going to crank that scale up. Yeah, I like that. So we're going to go ahead and put these. Or no, I'll find a better pillar. Because if I get up here... Yeah, we'll find a better pillar. There's better ways to do what I was wanting to do there, and it'll save a lot of time. But anyways, so now what we're going to do is add the station wrap wherever I can find it. There we go. This goes in sections where, like this. And then I usually also include it here. It's kind of cool how well that texture lines up. And I don't know if it's going to let me do it here or not. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. That's cool. That actually lined up perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a fence. Oh, that one's good. Alright, so now what we need to do is come here and see if it's already big enough. It is. But it's... So what I do is I put it on top here, hold shift and drag it down. Try to get right in the middle of the supports. It doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, most players won't ever notice if it's slightly off. But this creates our safety fencing so that if this was a rail coaster, people wouldn't be able to just freely walk into a potentially dangerous area. I'm going to drag that down. And it also, of course, adds to the visual appeal of your coaster. Oh, let's drag that back a little bit. trying to get it lined up so it's not clipping through the front. There we go. And I'm sure there's some that are clipping through the back, but we'll take care of that in a minute. Like I said, I was looking for a post or pillar, but I wanted to get these done first because these were usually when I build coasters, this is the harder part to line up. So I'd rather get these gates done first. Oh. I just want to make sure all these are... Yeah, they're relatively close. Some of them are higher than others. Didn't even think about that, but... So one thing that kind of sucks is that this perspective can be a little hard. And it doesn't matter if they're off a little bit, but I just don't want them off by like a cartoonish amount. Which actually, for my pillars, I often use logs, and I don't think there'd be a reason to not use a log on these ones, because logs are nautical. Like, people use logs in nautical stuff all the time. Alright, so... this one I need to move. I always hate that when you go to move it and the camera just goes squirrely as heck. So that one's better. M. Right there. So now we'll search for log. Oh, I just saw it there. And this one's already like perfectly sized, so all I have to do is line it up on the center there, drag it down until the top clips through. And it creates this nice, like, classy look. And of course, you know, these just look like, you know, pylons or whatever that you see in a pier, so... And I promise that once we get past this part, it's going to go really fast. But, you know, for as annoying as this can be, the visual look is really cool. Right, so let's get these ones out of the way first, and then I'll do the front of the station. And like I said, this is the boring part, but it is almost done. All right. Oh, right. I forgot to do the front. All right, so it's almost done. I did do those ones. All right. Yep, I did those ones. And the cool part is that since I'm doing it right down the middle like that, it shows on both sides. So even the inside of the station, if you get the camera in there, it looks really cool. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Want that just a tad more forward. There we go. Ah. I'm willing to accept that one being a little low because Planet Coaster can be very squirrely with minute movements. There, so even when you're in the station, it has this classy kind of old school look, and it still works with a nautical theme. So now, gonna go back to Divided and see what they have. I don't even know if they have any. Yeah, they don't have any roofing for that, so let's just search for a roof and see what options we have. I kind of like the aquatic corrugated roof. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the, which first of all I'm going to set that to gray. But I'm going to set the, I'm going to do the brake run in flat, and then I'm going to do the station and brake run in the curve. But that way you have kind of a visual marking difference between the station and the brake run area. And then this one, of course, we're going to swap to gray as well. And then I'm going to go back to looking for Divided, because they should have a piece that can match that curve. I want to say this one. No, that's the inside curve. Where's the outside? That's a slope. Oh, come on. You don't have... Or, yeah, no, that's just a plain slope. So... let's see if we can find just a curved wall that can fit. I don't... You know what, that works. Let's go ahead and color it our blue. Confirm. Oh, that's not the correct curve. So I need a 2-meter curve. Alright, so you know we're gonna go back up here. We're gonna let's delete those guys. M. We're gonna place these guys down first, and then we'll find curved roof that will make it work. Because if they have this piece in the game, then it has to have a corresponding setup. And actually this one I need to put down there. This one I need to put down here. And let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this guy and put him there. And then over my transfer track, we'll have 2 additional flat pieces to kind of separate the 2 like curved roofs. And then we're going to also use some of these blue pieces to fill in the gaps between right here and right here. Now we'll go search for a curved roof. Oh, that is way too big. Yeah, what the heck? So let's see if this metal corrugated roof will work. Yeah, that one will work. So auto stack I'm going to turn off for a bit so that it just makes it easier on me. I'm going to go ahead and lighten its color just a little bit so it more fits in with our theme. Control D. Don't know if I like that. Let's see if we can get a flat piece of metal. See what this looks like. Alright, so let's color that our gray. I am trying to pay attention to the comments too, and like I said before, if you want to leave a comment and have me respond to it live, go to twitch.tv/ADDATUDEZ. That is the channel that I pay attention to during the live streams, even though we stream to multiple channels, because it's, you know, easier for me to pay attention to one, not a bunch. So while we're here, I'm gonna No, I want it to be blue. So scale, I'm going to crank my scale down a little bit. There we go. And this way we get some additional light in here because this is like a little flood lamp. Nope, I want it right here. I'm going to do the outer wall in this area first because that outer... because of the squirrely camera, it can be more of a pain in the butt to do the outer wall, so I'm going to go ahead and... Oh. Right, so there. And just, completing the motif in here. And then really quickly I'm going to go into my brake run area, or like my transfer track. And I'm going to crank the size way up. Partially for light in here, but partially just for aesthetic because it has that really industrial look. And then I'm going to, I think I want to search for something like maybe a star. Because I want something on that wall right there. And I know I pointed to the wall that you guys can't even see what I was pointing to yet, but yeah, that's cool. So I'm gonna crank that up. Yeah. Because that has a kind of a nautical vibe. And actually, while we're out here, kind of just eyeballing it. Put that one about there, and then these to duplicate. That way, if you place this down in your park, it has some, curb appeal beyond just what's on the coaster itself. And also, you know, it's always a good idea that when you're working on stuff like this to carry through your theme. And I didn't realize until we started playing with it how cool this star was. So, which actually, in a second, I might pause the game and pop some of those stars on the train itself. And I promise in a second, with all the work we've just done, that I will take a second and have us ride it. Because I'm sure the experience coming to the station now is radically different than when we first started today. So that ought to be fun. Alright, so for a sec, I am going to stop editing that building. Because for one thing, I want to save park, because Planet Coaster 2 is still newer, and it is still having some issues with crashes. So I don't want to have my heart broken. So, alright, we're going to pause that. Go to there, attach scenery, and that's attaching scenery to the train itself. Oh, I know how to do this. Let's say add objects, star, and then we're going to shrink it down as much as we can. Yeah, so now we're going to go to symmetry type, mirrored, twinned, all trains. Okay, that's cool. There. So now, done. Then we'll go to testing, start test, and let's see how it rides. And like I've said before, I've kind of taken some stuff from Ride to Happiness on this. And it does get very extreme during the one part where you're going through the like 0G roll into the demon knot. So be prepared for some extreme spinning right here. And then we're going into the demon knot. Into the banana roll. Cool, I love that. And of course I'll let you see all the way through. And this is the unload station. Like, especially since they've added the functionality to it, I just like having both load and unload stations. It feels a lot nicer. But now that we know that that works, we'll go back to editing the building. And now we're going to get to the stuff where it actually goes kind of fast, because instead of working on the building itself, we're going to be working on like the scenery around it, but it's still attached in the same scenery group. So what I'm going to do is search for rocks. Aquatic rock, we're going to pick one, and first of all, we're going to crank its size way up, or we can get bigger than that. Yeah, so and once we start piling rocks up around here, it will add up quickly. let's see here. And I'm basically adding rocks that are super big right now because they'll act as the base for the more fine-tuny stuff we do. But back in Planet Coaster 1, you couldn't resize rocks. So you would end up in a situation where you had to build, massive structures out of rock, little stone by little stone, and it took forever. So I am very happy that they let you resize rocks now in this. Sounds like a tiny little addition, but my lord, it saves your life. Okay, why is it... Oh, it's not wanting to stick to the ground, it's wanting to stick. Oh well, we'll mess with that in a second. And also, if you can't tell what I'm doing, I'm basically outlining the shape of the track. And I'm going to use these as anchor points for our medium-sized rocks. Because I'm not going to go super small with them because that would be a very long, complicated process. I used to do that when I streamed Planet Coaster 1, and it just takes forever, to put it mildly. And the nice part too is that when you use these big rocks, it doesn't count as much on your limit. It's the limit is something like 4,000 pieces to your buildings, which sounds like a lot until you're actually actively doing it. And some of these pieces actually count as multiple pieces, which can, of course, make life not fun. But it looks like I've got my layout roughed, so let's pick a different rock. How big is this guy? Oh, we need to crank him up. We'll crank it up all the way. In some of these spots we won't be able to put rocks. That's okay. Because we're ultimately going to kind of slightly bury this in the ground. I'm taking a tact from a park that I love in Germany called Phantasialand. Phantasialand has to deal with a severe height restriction, and so how they deal with that is they don't necessarily build their coasters up. They build the walls of their areas as high as the height restriction allows them to, and then for the coasters themselves, they dig down. And that results in ridiculous levels of immersion. You feel like you are totally in the world that they built. One of their areas is called Rookburg, and it's like a steampunk 1920s Berlin. And I swear, you feel like you're on the movie set for The Rocketeer or something. And I promise once we're done with this today, I will throw it up on the Planet Coaster Workshop so that way you guys and gals and everyone can download it. But right now we're just doing kind of the fine-tuning of these areas, getting as close as a medium will allow us to get. And then once we ride it again, you'll notice that it even makes it feel wildly different just being just having this extra level of theming. It really provides immersion. So now that we've got that kind of worked out, although let's do this area. Alright, so now let's find another meaty looking rock that we can crank way up size wise. Nope. Nope. Man, some of these really don't. Okay, that's a little more like it, so... I wonder if I can get any angle that will work here. There we go. So that way that'll give that, you know, head chopper moment as you kind of come flying down. There we go. And so it almost creates a tunnel effect, although not quite a tunnel, but close enough to be cool. Because part of it too is that one of the best things you can do when you're designing coasters in a game like this, and I suppose in real life too, although I have to, you know, stress that I'm not a real world coaster designer, but a good thing to do is limit your audience's ability to see the entire ride from any one vantage point, because that helps with the mystique. Right, let's find a different one to play with for a bit. I'm just trying to kind of make this look natural, but that really did not look natural there. I don't like those. I guess I'll just leave a couple of them, because on their, when there are one or two of them, they don't look terrible. But man, I wish some of these rounded ones would get way bigger than they are. And I guess one thing we could do here, since it's kind of getting close to it anyways, I can build up a bunch of rocks and then build them from this side, and then you just want to fill it in the sides a little bit. Especially you don't want any gaps showing where they aren't actually touching, so you want to build that out a little bit. Which is a tad annoying because the way the rocks worked in Planet Coaster 1, they naturally overlapped so that you didn't have to worry about that. But, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to... Oh, it shrunk it, so we'll just fill in the gap that way. And... I wonder if there's any aquatic plants that they have. Or I guess, you know, if we want to make it an underwater adventure, we could just have things like this guy. Okay, why is it not letting me scale it? Confirm. Okay, can other things scale? Why is that not scaling? Okay, so that specific object wasn't scalable. Well, let's find something else that is. Because I just want some kind of set pieces to place along the ride course that you barely miss. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, I could dig that. Because again, you know, the whole thing is just... And I'm just throwing this together really quickly too, just to show you how to do it. And like I said, I will post this to the workshop. It's actually my first time working with the coral stuff, and I normally do more, like, especially since I'm from Montana, I usually do a lot of mountain themes. Ugh. I don't like that last one. So let's go ahead and grab one of these other guys and fill in some gaps too. Because I'm sure it probably, you know, to you all looked kind of weird that I initially just put that one all over. But once you mix in visual variety, it helps sell it. And, or no, I want that guy. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now, one last thing before we connect it all up is I am going to connect the paths. So first of all, I'm going to go to pathing. And then for normal paths, I like to put it on the stamp builder and have it on level 1. Then I go to like the employee exit. And sometimes this can be a pain in the butt. Oh. Oh, it actually worked that time, so that's good. But because now in Planet Coaster 2 you can actually save your blueprints with paths in them. Then I'm going to go to my queue line and make sure that it's not, you know, going down in any way. Oh, let me redo that curve just a bit. I'm trying to kind of go with a coral feeling of the queue. That kind of organic snaking around kind of thing that coral does. There. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back way up, pick our multi-select tool, select all of it, confirm, save as blueprints, new creation, and let's go ahead and call it Undertow. Highly themed mock rides extreme spinner. Save blueprint. And then I'm going to go to my coasters, blueprints, Undertow. Share to Frontier Workshop. Upload as new. Upload to Frontier Workshop. So that way you can now have it in your own park. But now we'll go back to goofing off with it. Over here we have some people that want to go to our park. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my tool, my pathing tool. And I'm going to just build a path. And like that. And then yeah, normally also if you place this in your park, you could actually dig a hole, set it down in the hole, and then connect the path. That would work too. But now we're going to go ahead and open it. And then I'm going to fast forward this for a few minutes just to give people time to walk up to the platform. I just want to make sure my audio levels are doing good. Yep, they are. Oh, I forgot to call it Undertow there. Oh well. But if you download it, you can name it yourself too. Alright, let's see how it works. So now that we've got a line of people. So now we got everyone loading into their train. And actually, yeah, let's go ahead and give it a ride. And there we got to see the previous train enter the station. And there you have it. We made a fully themed mock extreme ride spinner in 90 minutes. Or just shy of 90 minutes. So let's see how long we wait at the exit break. Because if I look over, we could see how long it takes them to get out. Alright, they're all gone. And right as they're all gone, that train is dispatching, which means this train will advance forward here in just a second. Which I'm actually pretty impressed about. And for how quick we did this, I really like the train too. It has a nice amount of pop to it, and that, like I said, that star has more of a aquatic feel than I initially gave it credit for. And you know, it's weird that the train's just sitting there, but we have to wait for it to clear the train ahead of it to clear the next block. And in real life, you'd be having your staff do like the seatbelt checks, the visual scan, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not entirely out of character. And there it goes out, and the next train comes in. And then as the next train comes in, you'll see that train hit the brakes. So yeah, it's got a pretty good rhythm to it. Not terrible dispatch wise. It's about a 20-second dispatch, which in real life is kind of insanely fast. But you know, in terms of Planet Coaster, it's pretty good. Because Planet Coaster never has the functionality of people doing like the safety checks or anything like that. So that takes out a lot of the time that you would normally wait in the station before they dispatched you. And also, I hope this kind of showed how just a little bit of um, theming. I mean, like I said, we did this in an hour and a half. But a little bit of theming can take a good coaster concept to an excellent coaster concept, and that's both true in the game and in real life. So hopefully this helps you come up with some ideas for your own Planet Coaster creations. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Make sure you follow me on the Planet Coaster. Let me save this really quick. Save park. Let me wait for that saving to be off. But when I'll show you my Planet Coaster ID. It's just Zookey, Zookey. And you can download Undertow on there and pop it into your own park, and all the different stats for it were green. So like right there, Zookey. That's my Planet Coaster handle. So I hope you had